On the news this morning, Anambra Governor Soludo leads in commendation service for former Governor Ezefe. Anambra government issues red alert on untreated sewage water culture. Defense headquarters cautions citizens against indiscriminate use of military uniforms. As jury selection in Trump's criminal case trial reaches final stage. Hello, beautiful morning to you and welcome to Breakfast News at 8. I am David Okpokwasele. Before the news in details, remember that Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's continue to give him maximum support for the task ahead. The governor of Anambra State, Governor Chukwuma Soludo, led other prominent Nigerians to pay glowing tributes to the former governor of Anambra State, Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezefe, popularly called Okwadike. A commendation service was held in his honor at the International Convention Center in Oka. Our government house correspondent, Ejike Abana, tells us more.
Emotional one and described the late former governor as a personal mentor who has been encouraging him all the while saying that the late Ezefe was a true Nigerian. Governor Soludo noted that former governor Ezefe taught him the principles to live and die as Nigerian. He said that he laid the foundation for law and order, which was why his burial is compliant to the state burial law, saying that he lived the true essence of patriotism, which are legacies that propel him. Former Governor Peter Obi, who stated that former Governor Ezefe lived a life of justice, said that the aspiration is to have a Nigeria that cares for all, just as former Governor Dame Vejie Tiaba described him as a great pillar of the Nigerian nation, being a lover of human beings. Former governor of Enugu State, Chief Okwelisileze Nyanwodo, and Chief of Staff to the Senate President, Chief Sylvester Okonkwo, described Ezefe as a man who stood and fought for the unity of Nigeria based on equity, fairness, and justice. While announcing the conferment of the hero of Igbo land on late Ezefe, the president of Ohaneze Ndigbo Worldwide, Dr. Emmanuel Iwanyangu, thanked Governor Soludo for doing a lot for Ndigbo.
Ezefe is a great Nigerian, so I am glad to say today that Igbos have awarded Ezefe the national honor as a hero of Igbo land.
Vice Chancellor of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Professor Charles Esimone, said that late Dr. Ezefe made uncommon contributions towards the existence of the institution. Her daughter, Dr. Ezefe, eulogized her late father as a man who had a heart of genuine benevolence and kindness, pointing out that it is not a matter of number of years lived, but the impact made. The commendation service, which was led by members of the Salvation Army, featured Mountain Guard of Honor for the former governor at the Government House, Oka. In attendance were the Deputy Governor, Dr. Onyeka Chukwuibezim, Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Somto Chukwudeze, National Chairman of ABGA, Barrister Sly Ezeokenwa, former Governor of Anambra State, Senator Chris Ngige, former Chairman of Police Service Commission, Simon Okeke, members of Anambra State Executive Council, Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu, the State Chairman of ABGA, Barrister Ifeatu Obiokoye, National President of ASATU, Barrister Titus Abudo, family members, traditional rulers, the academia, among others. Yeah.
The wife of the governor of Anambra State, Mrs. Noe Soludo, says growing figures of cardiovascular-based deaths call for renewed and more intentional medical and habitual approaches. Mrs. Soludo, who was speaking in Awka, noted that the seeming neglect by most people to go for routine heart checks has contributed to the ravages of the most cardiovascular diseases, including heart failure or stroke, which are commonest among them. The World Health Organization reports that cardiovascular diseases are the #1 leading cause of deaths globally, accounting for an estimated over 17.9 million mortalities across the globe annually. Speaking on the dangers of cardiovascular diseases, Mrs. Soludo explained that it is important for everyone to understand that deaths from cardiovascular diseases are usually quick and undefendable, especially when they are in the acute stages. She noted that most cardiovascular diseases can be prevented by addressing behavioral risk factors such as tobacco use, unhealthy diet and obesity, physical inactivity, and harmful use of alcohol. The governor's wife re-emphasized the importance of healthy living in finding solutions to cardiovascular deaths, stating that engaging in regular exercise and eating healthy foods are just more important as checking the condition of the heart more often. She also urged people who are at risk of diseases due to hereditary reasons to be cautious of their overall health habits and avoid lifestyles that can exacerbate the underlying problem. The Anambra State government has warned residents to desist from the culture of channeling untreated wastewater through the public drains due to obvious health risks to the environment and on humans. The Managing Director of Operation Clean and Healthy Anambra Ocha Brigade, Comrade Celestina Anere, gave the warning while speaking to journalists on the increasing rate of wastewater being channeled to streets and major roads in the state. Correspondent Chibuzo Bidike filed this report.
Residents to desist from such ugly attitudes in their own interests and in the interest of the environment, while educating residents on the danger of mismanagement of wastewater and sustainable environment. He stated that public drains are meant for stormwater as against the unhealthy practice of channeling untreated wastewater, which will have adverse impact on the environment and humans, explaining that Anambra residents have continued to lament over the channeling of human waste on streets and roads in the state as the agency will begin to penalize defaulters. Some of the residents who spoke to the ABS in Awka, Mr. Ugochukwu Odogwu and a petty trader, Mrs. Chinyere Nwobo, decried the amount of sewage directly channeled into the streets indiscriminately, while a barber, Mr. Cletus Jaja, expressed worry over the way residents released their wastewater to the streets. A hairdresser in Amuobia, Ifeoma Obonna, told journalists that the situation is often unbearable in the entire atmosphere, coupled with leakages from waste carts that pollutes the air. In Awka, Chibuzo Bidike, ABS News.
A one-day joint taxpayer education and enlightenment program held in Awka has ended with a call on all taxable adults to react positively to the payment of taxes to enable the government to improve on infrastructural development in the state. The Enlightenment Program with the theme, Formalizing the Informal Sector, the Economic Benefits, was organized by the Anambra State Internal Revenue Service, AIRS, in collaboration with the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. The program attracted participants from government ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as representatives of transport unions, markets, among others. Our correspondent, Amaka Chibuzo Koye, tells us more.
Open, the Chief of Staff to the Governor of Anambra State, Mr. Ernest Ezajoye, said that payment of tax is purely a civic responsibility and sacrosanct, and that every taxable adult must comply, as the present administration is willing and eager to work with any money generated in the state. He maintained that when the Governor Chukwuma Soludo administration came on board, all the sectors in the state were yearning for resuscitation. Reason, the Soludo team immediately swung into action, constructing roads, providing security, education, healthcare, as well as taking all the basic responsibilities in making Anambra a livable and prosperous state. He commended the Anambra State Internal Revenue Service for their efforts, more especially in closing all the leakages and introducing electronic pay direct system.
Roads, we are building schools, we are providing security. Our human capital development top, if not the best in Nigeria. What we are doing in education, what we are doing in health sector, our environment. Where did we get this money to fix the roads? From where? The taxpayers.
Earlier in his welcome address, the chairman and chief executive officer of Anambra Internal Revenue Service, Dr. Greg Ezilo, noted that his office has continued to educate the masses that payment of taxes is a statutory obligation, stating that as they are formalizing the process, it will be of help to get across to those who shy away from it, more especially businessmen and women.
Tax is statutory obligation of every individual in the society.
Also in his address, the 16th President and Chairman of Council, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, Mr. Samuel Abuleyi, who spoke through the Vice President, Mr. Innocent Ohagwa, maintained that the objective of the program was to provide valuable insights and knowledge for taxpayers, stakeholders, and the general public concerning developments in taxation, tax obligations, changes in tax laws and policies, as well as the importance of taxation in meaningful fiscal requirements.
The sector contributes significantly to employment generation, income generation, and poverty alleviation.
For the State Accountant General, Dr. Chukwudi Okoli, the informal sector does not pay tax, describing it as bad omen and stating that Governor Soludo is using the little he has to put up more infrastructural projects, and commended the AIRS boss, Dr. Ezilo, and the FIM for raising the internally generated revenue of the state. Others who spoke at the event include the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Internally Generated Revenue Technical, Mrs. Kate Oyeka, and the lead paper presenter at the event, Chief Akachukwu Wampo, among others. I am Amaka Chibuzo Okoye, ABS News.
Chairman of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Chief Ifeatu Obi-Okoye, has urged relevant agencies to enlighten citizens on the consequences of abusing the Naira notes to change their attitudes towards the currency. Chief Obi-Okoye made the call in Awka while speaking on the arrest of some Nigerians who abused the Naira notes in social events by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Recently, a federal high court handed down a 6-month prison sentence to Idris Okunoye, popularly known as Bobrisky, arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for abusing Naira notes. Commenting on the development, Chief Obi-Okoye described it as a welcome development, as Section 21 of the Central Bank Act 2007 clearly stipulates that spraying of Naira notes is an offense punishable by 6 months imprisonment or a fine of 50,000 Naira, or both for offenders. The Abga chieftain explained that there is need for relevant agencies to enlighten the people against the abuse of national currency, like spraying of or marching on the Naira notes at events, as it will enable them to know that such indecent acts could land them in prison. Chief Obi-Okoye is also a legal practitioner, noted that it's a crime to reject Naira note because it is dirty, called for sensitization of Nigerians against such acts. The state Abga chairman noted that the EFCC acted in accordance with the act that established it, which empowers it to combat economic and financial crimes, investigate, prosecute, and penalize economic and financial crimes. Laying of asphalt has commenced on the 9 internal roads under construction in Amobia, Awka South Council area. Men of Daniels Construction Company, the firm handling the project, started laying asphalt on the road in the early hours of Thursday. We bring you the report as filed by our works correspondent, Ngozi Obileri.
The road. It was observed that asphalt has been laid from the Ministry of Works axis of the road towards the hillside. It was also observed that while drainage was constructed on one side of the road, there were caves on the other side of the road. Speaking to the ABS, the managing director of the construction firm, Engineer Daniel Nkwanta, said that depending on the availability of materials, they hope to complete the Presbyterian Church Road in 2 days' time and move to Onolibe Street to Dan Maduka Street, and will continue until they complete the road. road. Engineer Nkwanta also said that they started the road project in July last year and is supposed to complete by August, but they will finish the work by the end of May and hand over the road. He thanked Governor Chukwuma Soludo for finding him worthy of serving the state at this point, saying that they never waited for payments before they were paid at any point, appreciating the Commissioner for Works, Engineer Ifeanyi Ukoma, for his support.
Doing everything within our power to see if we can complete this job and hand over to the government latest end of May, latest. And also in tune with the program of the government, this particular present government does not stomach delays. So we want to make sure we are in tandem with the aspirations of the present government, and also next time to seek a contiguous project.
On his part, the General Overseer, Mission of the Most High Incorporated, whose church is at the entrance of the road, Pastor Isaiah Ojiako, expressed happiness with the governor for fulfilling his promise, recounting the ugly experiences they encountered when the road was very bad. Pastor Ojiako said that the governor has written his name on the sands of time, calling on him to continue the good work he is doing for the Anambra.
I feel fine. I feel good. I feel happy. We thank God for that. This is what we've prayed for over time. Finally, God has answered our prayers. We're happy about that. So I want to encourage the governor to do more. Great men are remembered for what they have done. We live for impact. And when lives are impacted, they leave an indelible mark on the sands of time. So
the asphalt is 50 millimeters, while the width of the road is 7.4 meters. From the Presbyterian Church Road, Amobia, in Oka South Local Government Area, I am Ngozi Obileri for ABS News.
Defense Headquarters has cautioned citizens against indiscriminate use of military uniforms, saying it can lead to untimely death. Our Abuja Bureau Chief, Ekwi Ajide, tells us more.
To the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, who made the call at a briefing on the ongoing counterinsurgency and counter-terrorism operations by the military across the country, said indiscriminate use of military uniform or arms mean being combatant, and as such brings fire. He said the military is focused on defeating terrorists and dismantling their military, administrative and political capabilities, and create conditions whereby they cannot carry out acts of terror or harm citizens. The DMO, however, noted that being a professional force, due diligence by way of intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance are painstakingly taken to distinguish terrorists from civilians before airstrikes are conducted. He revealed that during the period under review, troops neutralized 192 terrorists and arrested 341 persons while rescuing 62 kidnapped hostages. A total of 122 ISWAP combatant terrorists surrendered with their family members, saying that troops also arrested 37 perpetrators of oil theft and denied them an estimated sum of 821,284,740 naira in the South, among other feats.
Additionally, troops conducted fighting patrols to terrorist enclave in Bama, Konduga, Damboa, and Kaga local government areas of Borno State, as well as Gujba and Tamua local government areas of Yobe State. Troops in Gamborungala and Gaidam local government areas of Borno and Yobe State arrested terrorist collaborators in the course of their operations during the week.
In Abuja, Princess Ekwi Ajide reporting.
2 men have been arrested in Poland over an attack on a senior aide to the late Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny in March. Leonid Volkov said arms was broken in the attack outside his home in the Lithuanian capital, Vilnius, while... All right, we apologize for that mix-up. We'll take foreign news in our subsequent bulletins. Last season's runners-up, Enugu Rangers, are up for a crunch fixture against fellow Nigerian Premier League giants Kano Pillars in the biggest round 64 game of this year's Federation Cup, while reigning champions Bendel Insurance begin their title defense against Ogun State-based Nigeria National League side Stormers Football Club. The draw for this year's tournament was conducted at the Nigeria Football Federation Secretariat in Abuja. Thanks to a first-half penalty by Osanko Imade, Insurance beat the Rangers 1-0 to end their 3-year wait for a domestic title at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba last season. League champions Enyimba faced Warenje Football Club from Bauchi, survivors of the national playoffs, while Shooting Stars have a date against another NNL side, Solution Football Club. With the second-tier clubs and other divisions dominating the men's draw, there will be room for upsets in the round, which will also see the likes of struggling MPFL sides. Aka United faced Sinojo Football Club of Abakaliki, while Sunshine Stars versus Jeddah Academy of Sokoto, Plateau United against Ekiti United, just as Abia Warriors will play against Ilaji football clubs, among others. And that's the news this morning. Remember that you can follow news and programs from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio TV. Follow us on YouTube at ABS Television Oka and on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. Before we go here, the main points again, we told you that Governor Chukwuma Soludo has led in commendation service for former Governor Ezi-Ife. We also told you that the Anambra State government has issued a red alert on untreated sewage water culture as Defense Headquarters cautions citizens against indiscriminate use of military uniforms. Before the end of the news, remember that Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo valleys. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. And that's the news this morning. I am David Obokwase. Thank you for joining us.